Joni Mitchell has never been the kind of artist who makes lists. She's spent her entire life resisting labels, expectations, and musical boxes. From folk to jazz, from poetry to painting, Joni Mitchell followed her own instincts, even when it cost her popularity. So when word spread that, at 82, Joni Mitchell had finally opened up about the rock albums that meant the most to her, people listened closely. Not because she was chasing nostalgia, but because Joni Mitchell's taste has always been sharp, challenging, and deeply personal. These aren't just popular records. They're albums that changed how she heard music, songwriting, and emotional truth. Joni Mitchell isn't just a singer-songwriter. She's a composer. A lyricist. A musical architect. Artists from Prince to Bob Dylan, from David Crosby to Herbie Hancock, have spoken about her influence with awe. Joni never admired flash. She listened for honesty, risk, and depth. So when she names her favorite rock albums, she's not talking about trends, she's talking about records that expanded what music could be. Number 1, Van Morrison, Astral Weeks, 8:10 to 9:45. At the top of Joni Mitchell's list sits an album she has spoken about with near reverence. Astral Weeks. This record wasn't built like a traditional rock album. It flowed like memory, poetry, and dreams stitched together. Van Morrison's voice sounded fragile, searching, and utterly unguarded. Joni admired how Astral Weeks blurred the line between song and emotion. The lyrics didn't explain, they invited. Jazz musicians played folk structures. Folk melodies carried spiritual weight. For Joni Mitchell, Astral Weeks represented everything she believed music could be: intuitive, emotional, and unrepeatable. Number 2, The Rolling Stones, Exile on Main St. 6:50 to 8:10. At first glance, Exile on Main St. might seem like an odd choice for Joni Mitchell. Messy. Raw. Unpolished. But that's exactly why she loved it. Joni admired records that sounded lived in, not perfected. Exile felt like music made by people surviving, not performing. The songs bled blues, gospel, country, and rock into one hazy, emotional storm. She respected how the album rejected clarity in favor of feeling. To Joni, Exile on Main St. proved that beauty doesn't need to be clean, it needs to be honest. Number 3, Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon, 5:30 to 6:50. Joni Mitchell was never drawn to spectacle for its own sake. But The Dark Side of the Moon was different. This wasn't just a rock album, it was a meditation on time, money, madness, and mortality. Joni admired how Pink Floyd used sound not as decoration, but as narrative. Heartbeats, clocks, spoken voices, everything served the emotional arc. What impressed her most was restraint. Despite its ambition, the album never felt indulgent. It listened as much as it spoke. For an artist who believed silence and space were just as important as notes, Dark Side was a masterclass in emotional pacing. Number 4, Bob Dylan, Blood on the Tracks, 4 to 5:30. Joni Mitchell's relationship with Bob Dylan was complicated, competitive, and deeply respectful. But when Blood on the Tracks arrived in 1975, there was no denying its power. This was Dylan stripped bare, vulnerable, wounded, and brutally honest. Joni admired how the album transformed personal heartbreak into universal truth. The songs didn't explain themselves. They simply existed, raw and unresolved. Tracks like Tangled Up and Blue showed that storytelling could be fractured, nonlinear, and emotionally real, something Joni herself would explore throughout her career. To her, this album proved that confession, when done honestly, becomes art. Number 5, The Beatles, Revolver, 2:30 to 4 o'clock. Joni Mitchell often spoke about the moment rock music stopped being just entertainment and started becoming art. For her, Revolver was one of those moments. Released in 1966, this album shattered the idea of what a rock band was allowed to do. String arrangements, tape loops, philosophical lyrics, all packed into concise, fearless songwriting. Joni admired how Revolver balanced experimentation with melody. Songs like Eleanor Rigby and Tomorrow Never Knows proved that emotional weight and sonic adventure could coexist. To Joni, Revolver wasn't loud or aggressive, it was curious, and curiosity has always been at the heart of her own music. Joni Mitchell's 5 favorite rock albums aren't about volume or fame. They're about truth. Each record took risks. Each one ignored expectations. Each one trusted the listener. At 82, Joni Mitchell didn't reveal these albums to define rock history. She revealed them because they shaped how she listened, and how she created. And in doing so, she reminded us that great music doesn't age. It waits. Which album on this list surprised you the most? And which record would you put at number 1? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold stories from rock's greatest legends.